Welcome back! The last time I stood here, this room was chaotic. The kind of mess where you don't even know where to start. But today, when I walked in again, I just stood still for a moment and noticed the quiet. A real, gentle quiet. It doesn't look perfect, but it feels like a home now. Lighter, calmer. I slept unusually well last night. The kind of sleep you only get when your space isn't mentally tugging at you in the background. Did you feel it too? Today I want to share 10 simple habits that helped me go from that sense of constant overwhelm to this softer, more manageable rhythm. Nothing extreme, just subtle shifts that made a real difference. Okay, let's start with the first habit. And listen, this one sneaks up on you. You ever have that one spot where stuff just lands like a magnet for random junk? For me, it was the corner of the kitchen island. I swear that little spot had a gravitational pull. It would start with one thing, maybe the mail I hadn't opened yet. Then a coffee mug. Then my sunglasses, a pen, a grocery receipt, and before I knew it, I had built a shrine to all the things I didn't feel like dealing with. It became the I'll get to it later zone, except I never got to it later. Here's what I realized. Once one thing lands, it silently invites 10 more. Clutter invites clutter. People see a messy spot and think, oh cool, this is where we dump stuff now. Even if that people is just me and my bad habits. So I made a rule, pick one surface, just one, and protect it like it's sacred. Mine was the kitchen island. No matter what else exploded around me, and believe me, plenty did, I kept that one spot clear. Wiped it down. Lit a candle there sometimes just to make it feel fancy. I made it my calm corner. And you know what? That little island of peace helped me feel less like I was losing the war. So if you're overwhelmed, don't declutter the whole house. Just pick one spot. Keep it clear. Make it off limits for just for now stuff. You'll be amazed how much calmer you feel, even if everything else is still a hot mess. Oh, and if cluttered drawers and cabinets are driving you just as crazy, stay tuned. Tomorrow, I'll walk you through how I reset my storage spaces without pulling everything out at once. You won't want to miss it. All right, next up, let's talk about how I decide what gets to stay on the counters and what goes back into hiding where it belongs. Now let's talk about the second habit, and this one made my kitchen feel twice as big without knocking down a single wall. I used to keep everything out on the counters. Toaster, blender, air fryer, 3 cutting boards stacked like I was running a cooking show. It felt accessible, but let's be honest, it mostly felt chaotic. One day, I gave myself a rule. I call it the 5 out of 7 rule. If I don't use it at least 5 days a week, it doesn't earn a spot on the counter. That's it. That's the rule. So the coffee machine, she stays. The kettle stays. But the waffle maker. Sorry, girl, you're going back in the cabinet until Sunday brunch. And the thing is, once I followed this little rule, 2 magical things happened. First, cleaning became so much easier. No more moving 8 appliances just to wipe down a spill. Second, my kitchen actually felt calmer. More like a place I wanted to cook, in not a countertop showroom. If you're not sure where to start, just scan your counters right now and ask, do I really use this 5 days a week? Be honest. If not, give it a cozy little home behind a cabinet door. And tomorrow, when we get into those cabinets and drawers, you'll be glad there's space waiting. Next up, let's talk about what happens when stuff comes in, and how I stop my home from filling right back up again. All right, let me tell you about the habit that quietly saved my closet and possibly my sanity. It's called 1 in, 1 out. Super simple. If something new comes into the house, something else has to go. Sounds easy, right? Until you're standing there holding a new sweater like, welcome to the family, and then realizing, uh-oh, someone else has to be voted off the island. Look, I'm not saying it's always painless. I've had full-blown debates with myself over a hoodie I haven't worn in 3 winters but might be cozy for a movie night someday. Spoiler, it never made it to movie night. It just made it to the back of the chair for 6 months. Now I apply this to more than clothes mugs, Tupperware throw pillows. Yes, even the pillow that's technically fine but somehow always ends up on the floor. Bye, sweetie. Because here's the thing, stuff sneaks in. Sale stuff, impulse stuff. It was cute at Target stuff, and before you know it, your drawers are groaning louder than your knees when you crouch. So now I treat it like a swap. If something new gets to stay, something else has to leave the party. It keeps things moving, keeps me honest. And let's be real, most of the time I don't even miss what I let go. Next up, let's talk about the little tasks we tell ourselves we'll do later, and the 2-minute trick that stops them from piling up like laundry on a chair. Let me introduce you to the tiniest habit with the biggest payoff, the 2-minute rule. Basically, if it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it now. That's it. That's the magic. And listen, I fought this one at first. I was the queen of, I'll do it later. Put the dish in the sink. Later. Hang the coat. Later. Reply to that text. Maybe tomorrow. Before I knew it, later turned into a whole Saturday of catching up on dumb little tasks I could have knocked out during a commercial break. So now, if I walk by a stray sock, I just grab it and toss it in the hamper. If I see a dish, I rinse and load it. Takes less time than opening Instagram and way less emotional guilt. Here's a fun one. I started playing a game with myself. How many 2-minute tasks can I finish before the kettle boils? It's weirdly satisfying. Sometimes I even win. Sometimes I forget the kettle. Let's be real. Point is, these tiny actions stack up. They stop the clutter avalanche before it starts. And best of all, you don't end the day with that I should've feeling. Coming up, the one thing that helps me say no to impulse buys and how it saved me from collecting 47 versions of the same water bottle. Okay, next up, and this one saved me from accidentally becoming a cute mug collector. Again. I used to be that person who went into Target for paper towels and came out with a new throw pillow, a mug I didn't need, and a cozy sweatshirt that looked exactly like 3 others I already owned. Impulse buying. Yeah, it had me in a chokehold. So I started doing something super simple. I made a wish list. Anytime I saw something I wanted, whether online or in a store, I didn't buy it. I just wrote it down. That's it. I'd either snap a pic or drop it into a little list on my notes app called Think About It. No pressure, no guilt. It's like telling your brain, cool, we'll come back to it. And here's the wild part. 9 times out of 10, I never even looked at it again. Turns out most of the things I thought I had to have were just little emotional blips. Stress buys, boredom buys. I've had a long week, I deserve this buys. The wish list gave me space to breathe. And more importantly, space in my closet, in my drawers, in my budget, and in my brain. I even started using it when I'm out with friends. One time I pointed at something cute in a store and my best friend said, "Put it on the list," like it was a little inside joke. We both laughed and walked away empty-handed but unbothered. Next, let's get honest about why laundry always feels like a mountain and the small change that stopped my house from drowning in clothes. Okay, now let's talk laundry. Because let's be real, laundry has a way of quietly taking over your life. Like you blink and suddenly there are 5 baskets full and you're wondering if everyone secretly changed clothes 4 times a day. For the longest time, I used to do the classic laundry day thing. You know, wait until you're out of socks and then sacrifice an entire Sunday to wash, dry, fold, and hate your life. So I made a change. I started doing 1 load a day-ish. Emphasis on the ish. Okay, I'm not a robot. It's not a strict rule, but most mornings I toss in a small load, sometimes while waiting for the coffee to brew. By afternoon, I hang it up or throw it in the dryer, and by evening, it's back in the closet. Done. No piles. No laundry monster growing in the hallway. The best part? It's bite-sized. 1 load feels manageable. Folding 5 shirts? Doable. Folding 43 shirts. That's how you end up stuffing everything into a drawer and walking away dramatically. Oh, and pro tip if you live with someone else, this is also a low-key way to get them to help. People are way more likely to help with a small pile than with a mountain that looks like punishment. Next, let's get into that sneaky little pile that doesn't sit in a basket, it lives on your surfaces. One thing leads to another. And suddenly your house feels full again. Alright, you ever notice how one little item left out turns into a full-blown clutter party? Like you leave a tote bag by the door, and suddenly it's joined by a jacket, 2 packages, some unopened mail, and a lonely sock that wandered in from who knows where. It's like clutter sends out invitations to its friends. So here's what I started doing. I picked one problem area, that spot where stuff tends to gather, and made it a zero-tolerance zone. Just like I did with the kitchen counter earlier, but this one's more about the habit than the surface. I check it once or twice a day. Nothing dramatic, just a quick reset. And if I see something new starting to creep in, out it goes. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't wait until things get bad right. You just do a little every day to keep it from getting gross. Bonus tip. Set a 5-minute timer before bed. I call it closing the house like you're tidying up your little cafe for the night. Toss the receipts. Fold the throw blanket. Fluff the pillow that's half off the couch. It sounds silly, but waking up to a space that's already calm chef's kiss. Next, let's talk groceries and the weirdly freeing power of checking your cabinets before you shop. Yes, I'm serious. Alright, let's talk groceries. Because nothing humbles you faster than realizing you bought another bag of rice when you already had 2. Hidden behind 3 cans of beans you forgot existed. It happened to me more than once. I'd walk into the store thinking I should get some pasta just in case, and then get home to find 4 open packs already in the cabinet, all halfway used, none of them sealed properly. Lovely. So now I do this one small thing that has made such a difference. I check before I shop. Just a quick peek in the fridge, freezer, and pantry before I make my list. I ask, what do I already have that I can turn into meals? Not just what am I craving, but what can I actually use up? Sometimes it's beans and tortillas. Cool taco night. Sometimes it's half a bag of frozen peas and some forgotten salmon. Boom, dinner. It takes 5 minutes. Saves money. Saves space. And honestly, it makes me feel like a person who has it together even if the rest of the kitchen says otherwise. Oh, and no more mystery Tupperware buried under just-in-case bags of groceries. We love a clean, unbothered cabinet. Up next, let's get into the stuff we keep not because we use it, but because it reminds us of someone we used to be. That one gets deep. This one. Oof. It hit me harder than I expected. At some point, I realized I was holding on to stuff not because I used it, but because it reminded me of a version of myself I thought I should still be. The baking tools for when I was going to get into bread making. The heels from that office job I left 3 years ago. The workout gear from a fitness phase that lasted 2 weeks. Look, we've all been there. It wasn't just clutter. It was a quiet little museum of my past intentions. And you know what? That stuff was making me feel stuck. Every time I saw it, it whispered, "Remember when you said you were going to..." Not helpful, not motivating, just guilt with a zipper or a handle. So I made peace with letting it go. I started asking, does this serve me in the life I actually live? Not the one I thought I'd have. And if the answer was no, I gave myself permission to donate it, toss it, or pass it along to someone who is in that season. And surprisingly, it didn't feel like failure. It felt like relief, more space, more honesty, more room for the person I am right now, not the one I was trying to perform. Next up, the habit that keeps all of this from piling up again. Because yep, clutter doesn't stop coming just because we cleaned once. Let's talk maintenance, baby. Alright, let's finish with this. And honestly, this might be the most important habit of all. Don't wait for a massive declutter day. You know the one. The mythical weekend where you're finally gonna tackle the garage, clean out the closet, and maybe cry a little. Been there. Snacks help. Thing is, life rarely gives you that weekend. And even when it does, you end up so drained by the end that it's hard to keep it up. So now, I don't wait. I declutter a little as I go. A shirt doesn't fit right. It goes in the donate bag now. A drawer is too full. I pull 2 things out while I'm grabbing what I need. It's not a project, it's a rhythm. Decluttering isn't a one-time thing. It's a quiet background habit, like brushing your hair or loading the dishwasher. You don't always notice you're doing it, but over time it makes everything feel smoother. This one habit, the tiny, casual kind of decluttering, is what keeps the calm going. Not perfect, not spotless. Just more livable. And trust me, that kind of peace, it adds up. So that's it, 10 small habits that helped me go from always behind to just a little more at ease. Not perfect, not magazine-worthy, but real, manageable, and kind to the version of me that exists right now. If you're feeling overwhelmed by your home or by your own expectations, I hope something in here gave you a softer way forward. You don't have to fix everything. You just have to start where you are. And let that be enough for today. And hey, if you're ready to keep going, I've got a video coming up that'll walk you through how I reset my cabinets and drawers without turning the whole house upside down. It's all about calm corners and realistic systems. If this kind of content makes your brain feel a little lighter, feel free to subscribe or just stick around. No pressure. You deserve a home and a headspace that feels like yours again.